All right, hello and welcome to episode 12 of Crucible Boot Camp. I'm your host, King Koala, and today we're going to be looking at some gunslinger sniper play on Exodus Blue. This is a skirmish match sent to me by a fellow named Faded. And some topics we're going to cover today include aggressive sniping, the problems with passive play, knowing your loadout, knowing when to slide, and most importantly, the difference in mindsets between playing to win and playing to not lose. So let's go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, we see that he's running a pulse sniper loadout. This particular pulse I'm okay with in a sniper loadout. It's a grasp. Grasp tends to have a lot lower range, and the fire rate lets you hit fire it pretty effectively. There's been previous episodes where I've talked about, hey, if you're using a pulse rifle, you should really consider using a shotgun. But just because of the low range of the grasp, it's okay in this particular loadout. You see, he immediately goes to the 50-50. He's gonna challenge these with a sniper a lot, and my initial point I want to make is just pay attention to his positioning as he's taking these snipes. So you see he's got a guy on radar. He's going to try to move around here. This is a really good priming grenade. Really good reading your radar here. Gets his free kill, goes to reload, pushes around the corner. Another guy goes out and challenges again. Dips back into cover, which is nice. Dipping behind this box as opposed to challenging in front of it saved his life. So with those two kills on the C flag side of the map, you can kind of predict that the enemy team's going to start spawning on A flag. So you want to move to get an angle on the people that are going to spawn out here, which he does. This is good. What isn't so good is he pulls all the way outside of cover to do this challenge. Pulls back inside, which is nice. It's a really, really nice snipe. Pulls back. So he takes that snipe, pulls back into cover as he's getting challenged again. He tries to have another defensive grenade. It kind of just doesn't quite go his way, which is okay. And he's pulling back into cover, which is good. He has another really nice mid-range snipe. That particular snipe that he took right there, those are the kind of snipes that you should be aiming to get comfortable with in those situations. Because in that situation, because due to where his health is, he doesn't really have enough time to finish him off with a primary. So you really have to take that close to mid-range shot with your sniper in order to survive. Again, it's going to challenge. It's going to support his teammates, kind of walking back and forth. So he's on Poga right now. His teammates there too. He's covering the opposite angle that his teammate was. If you're going to stand in the same location as one of your teammates in threes, you tend to want to not necessarily cover the same spot they're looking at unless you see someone on radar. And that's to protect yourself from flanks. His teammate gets that quick snipe, and then you can see on his radar, he's somewhere over here, off to his right. Now you can see the radar blipped all the way around through trains, so one is trying to flank. So this is a good opportunity for him to back off Poga, go back into cover, and take this guy out as he's rounding the corner. Which he ends up trading just because he misses a full burst. It looks like he's aiming a little high on his gun, but that's not a big deal. He basically had two options here. Based on reading his radar. They just got this kill out on crates. You see someone's coming to flank through trains. And right there, you see that someone's inside cave on C flag. So this gives you, and you already have an orb inside and your teammate. So really you have two options here. You cut off the flank and you risk getting flanked yourself by the guy pulling through trains. Or or you risk getting flanked by the guy that could potentially kill your teammate in cave. Or you go support your teammate in cave, give the guy running through trains a full flank, but you have numbers advantage at that point. Either of the plays are fine. The pro of taking out the flanker is you potentially get a free res out of this and a full team wipe, so you can post up for pushing spawns or getting angles. But again, the con is this guy that is probably weak inside cave. If he gets picked off, then you're effectively pinched at this point. Conversely, if you go support in the cave, if you don't kill the guy in cave fast enough, the disruptor that's trying to flank you is going to get full shots off on you. If he's running a sniper or even a shotgun, it's pretty easy to go through cover into the cave and pick both of you off, especially if you're weak. Or even prime you with grenades or finish you off with grenades. So really, it's just you have to kind of manage your risk as you make these split-second decisions. A little mistake there, just not waiting long enough for his teammate. Okay, so you see at this point, your teammate just got sniped. You saw someone out on the cinder block. You really have no shot if you don't have your sniper out. And this is the danger of this highlights the danger of having a passive playstyle. You notice that he hasn't moved from the cave the entire match. And that gives the enemy team perfect information on how to best approach challenging him in the cave. As opposed to if he was instead to rotate around the map, pushing spawns, going back and forth in sort of a seesaw motion, or even in a big giant circle, going around and around the map, it doesn't give the opponent enough time to do a proper setup like they had there, where they just had two snipers waiting for you to peek. Luckily, they all spawn together. And here's a big mistake that I see a lot of players make. And you notice that he hasn't fully regened yet. There's a sniper up here on tube, and he knows that there's someone in B lane. He's really lucky that he doesn't instantly get domed by that sniper. And he gets really lucky that for that entire engagement. This is kind of an example of a false positive. That yes, you popped your super and you did get 2 kills with it. That's good for your team. But you did it in such a way that you could have instantly been killed out of it because of how low your health was. Like, I understand that you want to use your super as soon as it comes off cooldown, but you want to use it in such a way that you can do something with it and not necessarily, it's up so I should use it. You got to think about the times that you want to use it and when it's going to be effective. That initial challenge that he took is a good example of when you want to have your sniper out as opposed to your pulse rifle. You kind of know where the third guy is going to be at that point. And we see here that, like, again, he's challenging from these locations that are completely in the open. I've yet to see him really head glitch or be close to cover to try to shield a lot of his body. As well as he plays this entire match upright. He doesn't jump very often, which is fine. You're running a pulse rifle. But he also doesn't slide. That slide there to get special, you should be doing that the entire match. Most of the time he's challenging upright. And we don't want to do that. We want to be challenging around corners, sliding, or jumping. Just getting used to not giving enemy snipers a chance to even get a clean shot off on you. The goal here is not to get immediately headshotted by constantly jumping and sliding. Again, he's challenging from the center of tube. He has no cover. It's very risky, and he double peeks. All 3 of the guys are staring at him. You got a free kill. You know your teammates are in front of you. You can rotate on either side. You don't need to take a second shot to try to make a big play. You can just move around. Again, we see now he's on Poga. He's challenging here. You should be challenging this with your sniper. You don't need to challenge this with your pulse rifle. So this turns into a 2v3, which is fine. Again, he's challenging outside of cover. He's completely in the lane here. So there's only one guy left. You know he's in C alley. This is a moment where you really need to understand how your loadout works and where the power points are on the map where your loadout shines. When you use a pulse rifle and a sniper, it really puts you at risk for any close range engagements. Your long range is covered by your sniper, and your mid to long range is your mid range is covered by your pulse rifle. In Grasp's case, you have a pretty good close mid range, which a lot of other pulse rifles don't. It's a little more forgiving because of how fast it fires. But if you're running something like a Hawksaw, that's going to be a little bit better in mid range as opposed to close mid. Knowing this and your final opponent is in an area where you're going to effectively have to close the gap, you don't want to push into them. But instead, he decides to push into him and get smashed. Now, even if that wasn't a smash, let's say he just gets primaried and then follow up storm-fisted. If this guy's running a hand cannon, he only needs to body shot you once, no matter what hand cannon it is. He only needs to body shot you once for his storm fist to be lethal. It basically functions as a shotgun at that point, and good Titans know when their storm fist is up, and they won't even try to challenge you with their full primary. They'll just punch you in the face. You close the gap for them, they're basically at no risk. In this case, his Titan opponent obviously opted for the smash, which is fine. But again, you didn't need to be there in the first place. You had a perfectly good vantage point on that box, where the worst thing is that you get a split spawn where they're spawning on A flag and you get sniped off of it as they go all the way around into cave. Where you're at now, your teammates can push one side, you can cover the other entrance and pick them off for free. You don't even put yourself at risk to getting smashed like that. It's a completely low risk play, and even if it goes wrong, even if he gets away, you didn't really lose out on anything. So he's pushing through trains. See someone. Okay, so this is another perfect example of you need your sniper out at this point. Especially when you see him or hear him pop Goldie Gun like this. Now, the position you've put yourself in by not having your sniper out initially to have a body shot on him at least, so you can finish him off with a primary, he can just hop over this box and instantly kill you. You're not going to have enough time to do that. Luckily for him, his opponent is really, really stupid and just walks into double trip lines. But 100%, you got lucky there and you should have died. So I'm going to fast forward through this, but just because it isn't really, you're not going to learn anything from this, but if you are going to pick up heavy and use a sword, your sword basically becomes a shotgun that you can use to maneuver around the map. He plays incredibly passively as he has his sword. He doesn't really seek out kills. It's fine initially because there's going to be rockets, but he doesn't use the block at all. He doesn't use a swing to get to traverse around the map, sort of like a pseudo skate to kind of throw off his opponent's aim. So here's the perfect example. You want to swing forward or swing to the side, so this person doesn't have a really great shot on you. Instead, he swings straight forward, but he could have swung sideways and not even taken any damage. So again, the only time you should be pulling out your sword is if you're close enough to actually kill them with it. Otherwise, you should have your primary out. Because it's going to teach you really bad habits where you just run at someone because you have heavy. But, for example, like now, where he just sprints at someone, just because he has heavy. Now, because he doesn't have his primary out and isn't really paying attention to his radar, he gets shot in the back. Luckily, he doesn't die. But then he's forced to this really awkward challenge where if his opponent did anything to him, he would have just fallen over and died. Again, pushing him. He was behind cover that time, which is good. But this third-person view is a good chance to see like exactly what it looks like to run in and out of cover. Again, walking right at him. This is a perfect opportunity for you to shield and kind of eat some bullets. You can jump above and swing at him. But it's silly to run at a sniper at head level without sliding or jumping. Especially when you have heavy like that. So they both pop their super here. He ends up wasting it. Again, it's not really paying attention to his radar at this point. It's not... I don't expect much out of a 2v3, to be honest. But again, the issues that you've had all game are still here. You're still making challenges out in the open. You're still not utilizing crouching or sliding to move around the map to keep you off radar. He had some really good snipes in the very beginning there, but now he's just kind of not really doing anything on the map. He gets his cleanup, but his teammate didn't even really need to die there if he was just following him around. And that's pretty much all she wrote. So, it's okay to be a passive player and to control these zones like you did. But the problem with being a passive player is your team also has to play passively in order for you to be effective. If your team plays more assertively, pushing into them like they did in this particular match, you're going to find yourself outnumbered a lot, either when they trade and get reses, or just never around for any of the fights. And yes, you're not dying, but you're also not really contributing anything to the team aside from cutting off one particular lane to walk through. And there's just so many lanes on a map that you can't really control the flow as one person unless you limit their options of movement, which is why you want to push spawns and aggressively seek out areas to cut off as they move off of spawn. So we either want to be aggressive, which is we push spawns, or we want to be assertive, which is we control the map and not a zone. And controlling the map is dynamic because the spawns are constantly going to be changing as the map plays out. Sometimes someone's going to spawn away from their team and you can push that person on their own. Sometimes teams are going to spawn together, so you push to the center of the map to cut off ways for them to flank you, so on and so forth. If you take the path that Faded did, where he just stays in one spot, you're only as effective as the enemy is stupid. Because if the enemy is constantly running into you and you're just racking up kill after kill, then yeah, you're doing a good job because the enemy doesn't know how to not walk into your scope. But when you start playing against better and better players, they're not going to give you a chance to even get off a shot because they're not going to be there in the first place. So you have to be more assertive at finishing the game off. And so that kind of brings me to my first point, and it's a mindset that's the difference between playing to win and playing to not lose. And this is something that was taught to me by my old roommate when I started playing Magic. When you play to win, you want to manipulate the game in such a way that it pushes you closer to the end goal, which is obviously, in the case of Skirmish, 5,000 points. So in order to get to 5,000 points, you need to earn points, which means you need to seek out kills and not necessarily wait for them to come to you. Now, playing to not lose would mean you don't want to lose points and you don't want to give the enemy team an opportunity to get to 5,000. Now, the differences are subtle, except the main difference is one is actively pushing you towards your goal and the other is passively pushing you towards your goal. And we always want to be in charge of our own destiny. We don't want the enemy team to play the game however they feel like. You want to push the pace. You want to get in their face. You want to make them afraid to move around the map. Basically, you want to slowly break down your opponents until they beat themselves. And you see that all the time in both video games and sports. And it's most commonly known as tilt. You want to put your opponents on tilt. And the easiest way to do that is to just be better than they are. To get in their head, to know where they're going to move around the map, and to counter everything that they do. A lot of people will make arguments about things like teabagging or psychological warfare, but those are only as good as your opponent is weak-willed. If a teabag or something is actually affecting your opponent in a negative way, then it's still gonna be more effective for you to just beat them, period, than it is to taunt them when you kill them. And I'm always gonna preach that point, that it isn't necessarily effective to teabag, but the most important thing, and why I don't think you should do that, is not because it's effective or ineffective as psychological warfare. That's irrelevant. Why I don't want you to do that is because you're wasting time setting up for angles and pushing spawns. Even those 2 or 3 seconds where you're sitting there bouncing up and down on someone's corpse, that could be the difference between you getting to the middle of the map and killing someone off spawn, or within 3 or 4 seconds off spawn, and them getting to a head glitch and killing you instead. I mean, the whole morality, childish thing aside, I have my own personal opinions on it. I don't do it. But from a gameplay standpoint, wasting time is one of the worst things you can do. So just don't do it. So let's talk about aggressive sniping. I'm going to show you guys a sweat that I did before. This is about 4 months ago, about when I started doing sweats. So it's not as crisp as what I want it to look like, aggressive sniping. But you're going to kind of see what it means to be an aggressive sniper. This is before the special ammo changes, so there's not going to be any special in the beginning. But you see right off spawn, even though I have a last word, I basically have to use it like a shotgun, and I need to push aggressively into the enemy team. Spawns are going to be the same as in Trials, so they spawned out on Alpha. And we spawned... And they pushed to A flag, and we spawned on outside crates. And I immediately pushed their spawn. I'm not trying to set up for an angle, I'm trying to get in their face, because that's the strength of using the last word. That's what I would call an opening gambit. It's changed a lot now that you can actually have special again on spawn. But that was kind of the meta at the time, was you wanted to just get in people's face and be aggressive right off the bat. But you see that as soon as we kill people, I know where they're going to spawn on this map. If we're on Seaside Special, I know they're going to spawn A flag or back A trucks, or even in the corner out here. I don't waste any time waiting for them to spawn. I'm going to get an angle. Here I wait just because special's spawning, and this is kind of the beginning of how you want to snipe on this map. So I secured 2 of them. I see someone is likely out behind Poga, so I'm just waiting. I see him go in, so there's only one way for him to go, from outside Poga into tunnel tube. I don't see anyone out here on the cinder block based on my radar reading, so I get a free hardscope inside. I don't really have a shot right now. I missed my headshot, but I'm set up basically to cut off any escape he has. I know my teammates are down tunnel, so I'm set up in such a way, and this is kind of the passive zone control that you can do as a sniper, is you want to cut off escapes. As soon as I kill him, I don't wait to get another snipe. I'm pushing right in to support my teammates because we have a numbers advantage. This is the assertive portion of being a sniper if you're a passive player, is as soon as you have a numbers advantage, you got to rely on your primary. I get a kill in the back. I had 1 tap on him and finish him with a melee. So we've killed them in caves. I know that they can potentially split spawn. I have 7 seconds until they spawn up. In that 7 seconds, I need to make a decision. Which spawn don't I want them to go to? I'm mid-map, so I can choose either one. In this case, I really like the angles on the side I'm currently on, so I push into A flag. Now they're not going to spawn A flag, they're going to spawn out on C side by boxes. I can already see someone's out on C side by boxes. If I was a better sniper, then I could have had a shot there. But I'm crouched there. You notice that I'm crouched. That means that they don't necessarily know if I'm on those stairs. I'm blipping in and out. So he peeks around because my teammate is right there, and I'm right there to support him. Unfortunately, I get him killed because I just walk into a trip mine. Okay, so as an aggressive sniper, and I know someone is down there, this is an opportunity for you to get real creative with challenging them, especially if there's an orb here. And I remember when I was on comms in this match, I was telling Andrew, hey, I'm going to use you as bait. I'm going to use you as bait. And this is how you use someone as bait. Right as you res them, you pop out of the cover and you take a shot. It has to be quick, and you want to go for a body shot if you don't know where their head is. Don't bother trying to line up a headshot. Just get a quick body shot, and then, like I did, I hopped right in the air to keep my head off of a level place. I push the next person. I run around. We have a pinch now. I missed my body shot, but that's okay. I can go to support. And now I've basically pinched myself, so this is a bad position for me. I managed to dodge a grenade by hopping in the air, but I don't need to push out. I'm weak. I have super, but it's still dangerous for me to push out there without first charging my Juggernaut. This was this was 4 months ago, so I wasn't nearly as aggressive as I am now, but if this were me playing now, I would run straight into this wall, charge my Juggernaut shield, and then round the corner. So now I go out to challenge. Now that I've seen them cross by my radar, my teammates are there to support me. I am in danger here of being pushed and killed, but I know my teammates are there to support, so I don't necessarily need to make a play at this point. I've basically functioned as a bullet hose, or a bullet soak. So we've killed them on this half of the map. They're going to spawn on trucks. What's your friend on this side of the map? You want to get on the tube. So I get on the tube, and again, if I was a better sniper, I have 2 free shots here. I only have 1 in the mag, which is my fault for not reloading and keeping track of my ammo. But a better sniper would have killed at least one of those players. I make a mistake here by playing too passively, and this is one of the risks you run by playing passively. Andrew manages to kill him, but I'm not there to support anyone, and I'm not a help to my team at all. And this is kind of what it looks like when you're a passive sniper and what can go wrong. We saw that base died, and I'm not there to get a res. I'm not there to support and get those 50 points. I stay scoped in here way too long. I should really be moving to support his fire first and then scope in. But I get 2 kills here. And I can't push through. So I have 2 choices. I can go to A flag or I can go underneath. I choose underneath because my super's up. I want them to get revives. I see there's a revive, so now I get 2 free kills. I don't want them to spawn behind us, so I go to block the spawn behind us and then move towards the tube. Again. And now you're going to see, I knew exactly where they're going to spawn. I get a headshot. And now we're in a numbers advantage. I know base is to my right. So now we can pinch him. I don't need to worry about this orb anymore. I don't need to cover it. If this was trials, I don't need to cover that orb. I just need to get this next free kill. I saw someone out on cinder block. I have my sniper out in case he repeaks. He doesn't repeak, so I go to reposition. I'm not waiting for him to come back. I'm going to him. I'm going to try to find him. Okay. Again, I have another decision to make. I have a guy inside tube, and I have another guy outside crates. I'm in a pinch position, so I've already put myself in a position where I need to kill my way out. Now I notice a little late that there's 2 people inside tube. So I have a really, really risky push in, but I run transfusion, so I know if I can kill him with my melee, then I'll be ready for the second guy. I only have 3 shots left, so knowing that the second guy is inside, I don't have enough unless I hit 2 headshots to kill him. My melee isn't up, so I know if I do want to kill him, I only need to hit him with 1 headshot or 2 body shots. I go to reload, and I notice he's a little far away. So I pull out my sniper. And that kind of mid-range shot, that's what you got to be doing. Look, and at that point, I've pre-aimed with my hand cannon. I know where he was. I kind of have a good idea where his head is. So I take a quick glance snipe. It's okay if I miss that snipe. I'm going to switch back to my primary. You should get in the habit of switching back to your primary after taking a shot. But again, I push the spawn. I'm not waiting for my teammates. I'm just constantly pushing. I take 1 shot here. I should be sliding down to get a cleaner angle. I'm waiting for him to pull back around, and he's not. I notice someone's pushing me, and I didn't properly read my radar and just get bodied by a Goldie gun, which is fine. But just notice the score. I've been pushing them off spawn this entire game. And I know where they're going to go to, and I'm cutting off ways for them to push into me. Basically, they only have 6 kills right now. Whereas, you know, I was on a 15 kill streak, so 15 or 16 kills. That's what aggressive sniping, and this is what it looks like to push pace against a team. My teammates are all dead. This is the perfect opportunity for you to play passive. When all your teammates are dead and you don't know where they are, or that you're afraid they're going to push into you as a team, you don't need to move. Be patient, wait for your teammates to come up, and then move aggressively to get angles. So we heard, I believe that was a blade dance. I don't really know where they are, so I'm playing back a lot here. And we managed to wipe them again. So I get the res, and I'm off to push already. I'm a little late to get anyone off spawn on the tube, so I decide to pull inside. I don't see anyone, so I'm instantly pushing for another angle, pushing forward, cutting off the opportunity for the enemy team to get any kind of map control. I'm choking them out of any chance to come back into the game. I walk into trip mine here, but my teammates are there to support me. So I slide here. I knew that there was a sniper there, so I slide to get distance, pull out my sniper and wait. I'm waiting for him, and I just missed that shot. If I was going to take that shot now, I would have slid and tried to do a slide snipe, or just pulled out my primary and chased him down. Worst comes to worst, I just super him. I hold on to my super for quite a long time now. I should have my sniper out here, so I pull out a little late. But again, I just go for a body shot. I only have time for 1 shot. I don't know where the enemy team is going to be. That's a free reload for me because I have my super up. But I was in danger of being shotgunned there. Luckily, my teammates, again, they're there to support me. But you can see the pace of the game is much faster than the one we just saw. I saw someone bodied and he's going inside, so again, I have another shot. He manages to flinch me out of that one, which is fine, and I throw a defensive grenade. My teammate's pulling inside, which means that I have the chance to cut off any escape that they have. They have to kill through Andrew or go out through Poga. And if they go out through Poga, they're going to run into me, which is exactly what happens. So that back skate there, if you're a Titan, you want to master that little back skate. I see him, and I don't have a shot, so I just instantly pull back into cover. Pull back out, primary him down. Now that they're all dead, I'm pushing the other side for the spawn. So they didn't spawn immediately. See, they're inside. Try to get an angle on them. Kind of waiting. Check my other angles. No one's really pushing me. I'm slowly edging forward. Now I'm on the power point. Tube is really nice to be on. My teammates are pushing, and I make another mistake of not supporting. believe I was getting callouts like he's around the corner. I don't have an angle there, so I move up. Slowly edging around. Slowly edging around. Trying not to stay in the same place for very long. Waiting for my teammates to support me. If that was a shotgun, I'd be dead, 100%. I should have just smashed. But in that case, yeah, he had a shotgun. I get bodied. If I was playing this game now, I would not nearly have saved my super for this long. I would have had a second one or a third one up by this point. It's okay to just get a super and then use that momentum to gang up on the remaining teammates and then push a spawn again. If you can turn one super into an entire spawn push and get 2 wipes out of it, that's worth more than killing 3 people with your super alone. So again, spawned out there. Take 1 shot, move. I only had time for 1 shot. I move. Take another shot, move. I don't need to cover that. Cut off any push inside, and I prime him for my teammate to take him out. Move back to 2 because they're going to spawn on A flag. I see. He's already spawned over there. Get a kill, move off. I'm not safe there anymore. But now I'm pushing with my primary. I think this is the point in the match where we all collectively lost our shit because Dying Kings just destroys everyone. Yep. When we were on comms, it was just we were all hooting and hollering. It's always nice to see people make plays like that, even when you're on the other team. And we let him know afterwards. We were all cheering for him after he got that triple. So finally, they wise up to what I've been doing the whole map, and they dome me. And as a player, that tells me that that's no longer safe as an option. I need to be very methodical about when I go up there from this point on. Kind of get close by, but I know they were fighting, so it was... Alright, so I hear that there's an arc blade. And he went invis. You can't hear it, but he went invisible. If I have a Titan with a smash, then this is a perfect opportunity to stay up on radar, kind of freak out, bait him inside, and then just super him. I had no intention of wasting a sniper bullet or actually killing him with my primary, trying to melee him. The whole point of me doing that and not moving is to make him kill himself. I want him to come into me. So again, off spawn, pushing for an angle. Take 1 shot, move up. I know I'm outside of cover, but someone has just died and they're not even there. That's pretty much it. So this is an opportunity to see, 1, how I play. Well, this is a little old, but it's similar. And 2, what it means to be an aggressive or an assertive sniper. We saw during that game there were times where I was very passive and I was waiting for people to basically come into my scope. And there were other times where I was using it in such a way that I'm cutting off ways for them to move around the map. I'm pushing into them so I can create a shot on them as opposed to waiting for them to give me an opportunity to find a shot. And that's what we want to see when we talk about aggressive sniping. So I've pulled up Exodus Blue. So the final point I want to make before we start drawing X's and O's is engaging from traffic lanes. So on every map, there are areas you move through and areas you fight in. So on Exodus Blue, areas you move through that aren't control would be through B, this lane from Poga to Z Special. And trains. These are areas you move through, which means that you shouldn't be moving through them if they're unsafe. That means your challenge areas are on either ends of them. Another way is C flag to slope stairs. So these are all lanes of traffic. So for the most part, we don't want to be engaging in lanes of traffic. And the reason for that is most of these lanes don't have much cover. This lane here is a little different because there are the pillars here, and there's the little fallen boxes. You can pull back around broken wall. But if we were to challenge in an area such as, and we saw it for both from myself and Faded, Poga, this lane here, you're completely exposed. And at any point you're in this area, you don't have good options for actually pulling back into cover. You either have to push into the enemy team into cover, which means you can get cut off, or you have to run all the way back. Again, giving the enemy team an opportunity to primary you and have easy access back to cover, or just come all the way around and flank you. So that means we only want to move through these traffic lanes when we know they're safe. Or if we do move through them, we want to move through as a team. If I get killed here, but my two shotgunner teammates manage to make it to Poga, then this location, sniping location here, is no longer safe because they can easily close the gap and kill them, either with a primary or just shotgun them. Then, after they kill them, they can either convert or they can pull back and pick me up for 50 extra points or for the res. And then I can cover the orb from this distance as a sniper if we're playing trials. You have options at that point. If I was going to cover the orb, I wouldn't do it from the same spot. I would try to move. Maybe I move inside. Maybe I move all the way out here to cover this angle here. Again, I'm not staying in the same spot. I'm not being passive. I'm seeking out new angles and new ways to approach the situation. And I'm not necessarily going to try to go into the enemy team unless I'm getting support from my teammates. That also means that if we know where the traffic lanes are, we know, or we have a good idea of where we should go to stop someone from moving through them. If we're going down C, that means to stop a push down C, a good spot is upstairs because it's a head glitch. And a good spot is around broken wall. Again, head glitch to C flag. If they're pushing from inside special to C flag, maybe we're running a shotgun, we can force them around the corner. We can force them around this corner, so we can instantly shotgun them. Maybe we want them coming into tube, so we hide around the corner, so we can shotgun them as they come in. But the whole time, we're not in the center of the traffic lane. We're only going to be in the center of the traffic lane when we're actually moving through it. Other options to stop people from moving through traffic lanes, if we're gone train lane here, then you saw me snipe a couple of times by this white box and over by the train here. So if you go to these locations, then you can cut off anyone trying to go through or underneath. If you're on this side and you're not comfortable making this snipe, because not everybody is, you can just go onto the crates or go around this train here, and you can cover that same area. You can also, there's a big tube here. You can go on top of that. You can go on top of the blue locomotive. You can go on top of this white tube and just drop off into cover if you have to. But our challenge is never going to be from the traffic lane. If you look at heat maps that Bungie is, some of them Bungie's provided, for example, Burning Shrine. So I'll pull up Burning Shrine real quick. On Burning Shrine, the heat map shows a lot of kills in the bridge area. A lot of kills. And that's because to move from either side of the map, we have to go through the bridge. That's the quickest way to move from room 1 and room 4 across to room 3 and room 6. So if we know that they're going to go bridge to bridge, we post up here, and we just kill them as they round the corner, or we just snipe them from the other end of bridge as they even pop up to come across. So that's a good example of getting an angle on traffic lanes. So X is blue. I really like this map. As a sniper, as you can see, there's a lot of different ways you can approach any kind of spawn, any kind of push. There's some power points as far as head glitches go. The tube's a really nice one. You saw that I could see basically all the way out in Alpha Field near back room, out here on by this truck, out here by the bridge. So this spot basically can kill anyone that spawns around a flag and decides to move into Alpha Field, or spawns back room and moves out. Anyone spawning here, you can cover by tube. If you're a sniper and you do end up covering tube, well, you want your teammates, if you want them to be close, challenging with their primaries from broken wall, or by trains, or both, or even in B. That basically means when they push out, you don't want them to leave your field of vision because that's where your support fire is. But if they stay in Alpha Field, you can basically cover any fight that they have with the enemy team. Similarly, if you're on crates, if you're on this crate, we get to cover in tube, and we saw that off at after I got my initial special box. We saw that my teammates were inside warehouse, and the enemy team was pushing out through Poga, in through broken wall. As long as my teammates don't pass this line here, I can support them as a sniper. And they don't. They wait on the right half, the seaside half of warehouse, and the enemy team pulls into my scope, and I get to support fire. If my teammates pushed all the way across, I'm now out of position, and I could potentially either lose the round or lose this particular spawn engagement because I can't push in fast enough to properly support a firefight. At that point, I have to play flank, especially if they're mid-fight, and I need to pull all the way down the lane around a Poga. Hopefully the enemy team is pulled inside to fight in warehouse, which gives me a good flank. At this point, I'm no longer sniping. I'm just using my primary. If you're going to be an effective sniper at a high level of play, you need to be more comfortable with your primary than you are with your secondary. Your secondary has all the power, but it's limited in the ways that you can make plays, whereas your primary is going to be useful all the time, as long as you use it in its proper engagement ranges. So in the case of Last Word, we don't really want to engage outside of mid-range. Mid-range itself is really iffy with the Last Word. Normally you want to be sniping there. But if I was using something like an Ias Luna, or Thorn, or a Hawk Moon, that means that my mid-range is pretty solid. So I can challenge with primary in the mid-range. And that also means I can aggressively push with my primary. And then couple that with my abilities, whether I'm a Night Stalker, I can couple it with smoke, or maybe on a gunslinger, and I can couple my shot with a throwing knife, or my Stormcaller melee, or an Axion bolt. I leverage my primary play with which abilities are up, which lets me do different plays. And that's also why your abilities are the most important part of your kit, because it lowers the time to kill of your weapon. If I know I have Axion Bolt up, I know it does 122 damage if it hits them. Most of the time, I would say don't assume it's going to do the full damage just because you can slide under it. At higher levels, at lower levels, just assume it's going to do full damage. That means I only need to hit a single headshot with my Ias Luna, or with my Thorn, or with my Last Word, and it's going to kill the any opponent. Knowing that means if I get into a firefight and I have one person Axion bolted and a second person fighting me, and I get this first headshot on the first person, I don't have to shoot them anymore. I can instantly turn my attention to the bigger threat, and that's the guy at full health that isn't necessarily going to die from my grenade, and potentially turn a 1-for-1 trade where they end up getting res into a 2-for-1 trade in which hopefully my two teammates swarm the remaining guy. So I know that this week people think it's going to be Twilight Gap. So let me pull up a Twilight Gap map real quickly. I apologize, I didn't have one prepared yet. But before I do that, let's just wrap this up. That pretty much covers what I wanted to talk to in this episode. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And I'll be back for number 13. We're going to be covering a Rumble match. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.